Have you ever wondered why some people remain healthy and sharp at 80 or 90 while others begin to decline right after 75? The answer isn't just about genetics or luck. It lies in the daily habits, from diet and exercise to staying connected with others, that quietly shape your health. In this video, we'll explore the 5 main reasons why health declines after 75 based on science and inspiring stories like that of George Anderson, a 94-year-old teacher who still lives independently despite having Parkinson's. His story shows that living well in old age is not a distant dream. You'll learn about silent risks, like habits that cloud your memory or poor eating choices that increase your risk of falls by up to 65%. We'll also share simple yet effective solutions like a 3-second muscle-preserving exercise to do every day or using sense to slow down cognitive decline. More importantly, you'll realize that health isn't just about the body. It's about keeping the mind connected and the heart inspired. Age doesn't determine your quality of life. You do. If you find this topic helpful, please subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave a 1 if you're joining me on this journey. Let's begin the path to living longer, healthier, and more meaningful lives, starting today. One of the silent but serious causes of cognitive decline in old age is the lack of sensory stimulation in daily life. As we age, our pace of life tends to slow down. We often choose familiarity, eating the same foods, walking the same routes, and living in an environment with little change. While this may create a sense of security, it also causes the brain to gradually become sluggish. The brain is like a muscle. If it's not exercised through new and emotional experiences, it loses its flexibility and sharpness over time. Studies show that when senses like smell and touch are not regularly stimulated, memory, concentration, and emotional responses begin to decline significantly. Older adults who live in a monotonous, unchanging environment are 3 times more likely to experience memory loss and dementia compared to those who actively maintain diverse sensory experiences. This is not just a statistic. It's a warning that mental vitality cannot be separated from sensory vitality. Imagine walking into a kitchen filled with the aroma of freshly baked bread or touching a soft, warm towel. These small moments are deeply nourishing for both the nervous system and emotions. Even an interesting conversation with a stranger, an afternoon walk through an unfamiliar park, or simply trying a new dish with a unique flavor. All of these are opportunities to awaken the senses and refresh the spirit. We don't have to make dramatic changes, just one new thing each day to feel something that sparks curiosity or makes our hearts race a little faster. That's enough to keep the brain developing, because what matters is not how old we are, but whether we still truly feel alive. And to truly live, we must feel. Sensory stimulation not only keeps the brain sharp, but also nourishes the joy of living, awakens sincere emotions, and connects us to the world in ways that medications or supplements never could. Don't wait until you lose your sharpness to start caring about maintaining it. Start today with small but vibrant things, so your life is always full of the colors, sounds, and sense of living. As we enter the final decades of our lives, there is one seemingly small thing that has a profound impact on our mental and intellectual health: the sense of having a purpose to pursue. Too many people after retiring unknowingly lose this sense of purpose. They no longer have the work schedule to follow, no longer have the responsibility of raising children, and no longer feel needed when they wake up each morning. And in that seemingly ideal peace, a void begins to grow, the void of meaning. When there are no new goals, even the smallest ones, the brain no longer has a reason to operate at its optimal level. It slows down as if entering a long sleep. A study from Harvard University shows that older adults who set small daily goals, whether it's learning a new word in a foreign language, trying a new recipe, or caring for a plant, have a 47% higher chance of maintaining cognitive function compared to those who live without a specific direction. This is not a coincidence. When we have something to look forward to strive for, and to achieve, the brain releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter that not only brings happiness, but also sparks motivation, focus, and the ability to learn. Look at the story of James Thompson. 94, a retired engineer from Colorado. After his wife passed away, James went through a long period of emptiness. But instead of letting loneliness overwhelm him, he chose to do the opposite. He wrote a bucket list, which included learning to play the ukulele, painting portraits, and signing up for an online meditation class. Not because he expected to become an artist or an expert, but because he wanted to wake up each day with a reason to get out of bed. And it was those simple reasons that kept him sharp, inspired, and connected with himself. Something that many older adults gradually lose when they no longer feel needed. Setting goals doesn't have to be anything monumental. It could be deciding to finish a book, writing a letter to an old friend, or simply learning how to make a new type of coffee. Such small challenges are actually mental exercises that help the brain maintain its agility. They help us feel progress, feel valuable, and more importantly, feel alive actively and with purpose. What makes this process particularly powerful is that it's not dependent on age. There's no age too late to pursue something new. A goal doesn't always have to take us to an endpoint. Sometimes it's the pursuit itself, with its failures, learning, and discoveries, that makes our minds shine. Those who maintain a spirit of learning until the end of life often not only live longer, but also live better, with a light heart, sharp mind, and strong spirit. If you're reading this and feeling something awakened within you, it's a signal that you've never really been too old to start over. Even a small change in your routine can reignite the flow of creativity, emotional vibrancy, and mental alertness. Because in the end, it's not the passing years that age us, but the abandonment of having something to live for. Don't let yourself get stuck in a repetitive routine and believe that the exciting times of life are over. As long as you remain open to learning and want to try something new, you are still living deeply. And there's no greater gift than that for a life fully lived. As we enter the later stages of life, the changes in our bodies are not just seen in wrinkles or gray hair, but also deeply hidden within, silently yet profoundly impacting our quality of life. One such change that is easily overlooked but has serious consequences is the lack of protein in our diet. This is especially concerning after the age of 75, when appetite diminishes, digestion becomes more selective, and muscle mass begins to decline without us even realizing it. Protein, which when we were younger might have simply been a part of our regular meals, now becomes an essential foundation for maintaining vitality, mobility, and dignity in older age. However, many older adults consume less protein than necessary, not because they don't want to, but because food no longer tastes as good as it once did, because they fear indigestion, or simply because no one encourages them to take care of themselves as they did before. What troubles me is this: the deficiency not only weakens them, but also pushes them into a vicious cycle of decline, where every step becomes unsteady and every fall is a potential disaster. Muscle-wasting sarcopenia doesn't arrive like a storm. It sneaks in little by little, silently stealing the ability to climb stairs, rise from a chair, or simply take a walk in the garden. It's not just physical weakness. It's a cut to self-esteem, a blow to the belief that one can still be independent. Research shows that older adults who don't get enough protein are 65% more likely to fall within just 6 months. But what breaks my heart the most is that all of this is preventable. No one should be forced to accept a future of weakness. No one should lose their independence just because of a meal lacking protein. And the good news is we still have a chance. You can start at any time. By adding an egg to your breakfast, a glass of milk before bed, or a handful of beans to your daily soup. These small actions can be the barrier that protects you from unwanted falls, from months spent bedridden, and from the helpless feeling of being unable to do what you once could. This isn't just about today's meal. It's about laying the foundation for a healthy, independent, and dignified old age. When you nourish your body with the necessary nutrients, you're not just sustaining life, you're preserving dignity, freedom, and joy. Remember, a healthy body is not a privilege for the young. It's a right for all of us at any age, and you deserve that. Don't wait until you need a cane to start caring about muscle strength. Don't wait until you're hospitalized to realize the value of a protein-rich meal. Act today, because your body deserves to be loved, protected, and lived to the fullest with all that you've built throughout your life. See every meal as an opportunity to live better, not just to extend time, but to make that time truly worthwhile. Because the difference doesn't lie in age. It lies in how we care for ourselves. And I believe you are strong enough to start today. In today's modern life, sitting has seemingly become the default state of our bodies, from work to eating and even entertainment. This is especially true for older adults where physical activity decreases and the time spent at home increases. Sitting might seem like a harmless activity, gentle, safe, and necessary for rest. But few realize that this prolonged stillness is one of the most dangerous, silent enemies to health in older age. When we sit too much and move too little, we allow our bodies to fall into a state of decline without even realizing it. Day by day, silently but relentlessly. The consequences of sitting for long periods are not just the aches and pains after hours in front of a screen. It's the gradual wasting of muscles, particularly in the legs, thighs, and hips, areas that are the foundation for standing firm and moving. Over time, losing this muscle mass makes activities that seem simple, like standing up from a chair or stepping over a curb, into challenges. Muscle loss isn't just a problem for appearance or fitness. It also causes older adults to lose their independence, confidence, and sense of control over their own lives. Worse still, this condition can lead to a fall, an event that for younger people might just be a minor accident, but for older adults can be a turning point in their lives. Broken bones, bed rest, and the loss of the ability to care for themselves. But the danger of sitting too long doesn't stop there. When the body remains inactive for too long, blood circulation slows down and internal organs don't get the necessary nutrients and oxygen. This contributes to the formation of plaque in the arteries, increasing the risk of high blood pressure, cholesterol, and cardiovascular diseases to alarming levels. It's hard to believe, but many studies have compared the effects of prolonged sitting to smoking and concluded that the impact on cardiovascular health is similar. This is no longer just a warning, it's a serious truth that we can't ignore any longer. However, the hopeful news is you can turn the situation around. Small, consistent, and mindful changes in your daily habits can help your body fight off decline. You don't need a gym, fancy equipment, or complicated exercises. What you need is commitment, getting up regularly, walking around the house, stretching after switching activities, lifting legs, rotating shoulders, or simply doing light housework. Every movement matters. Not only does it improve blood circulation and strengthen muscles, but it also releases endorphins, neurotransmitters that help boost your mood and make you feel more relaxed. By moving regularly, you not only exercise your body, but also nurture optimism in your soul, a light that helps older adults combat feelings of loneliness, depression, and the fear of aging. The most important thing is you don't have to do everything all at once. Start with small steps. Stand up for a few minutes every hour. Take a walk around the house after each meal, choose the stairs over the elevator if possible, or simply stretch when you feel tired. These habits, when maintained regularly, will become a strong shield protecting you from the serious consequences of a sedentary lifestyle. You will find yourself standing firmer, moving easier, sleeping better, and most importantly, feeling alive, not just existing. Movement is not something out of reach. It's the right to live a healthy life that everyone deserves. Especially you, the one who has spent a lifetime caring for others. Now, it's time to take care of yourself. Your body, your heart, and your soul. All will thank you for the small steps you take today. Stand up. Step away from the chair, listen to your body, and let every step you take affirm that you are still in control of your life powerfully and meaningfully. Because old age is not the end. It's a new journey where you can still shine in your own way. In the journey of old age, one of the most comforting things for many people is the presence of loved ones. Longtime friends, a loyal spouse, and peers with whom they have shared countless ups and downs. These relationships create a familiar space where we feel safe, loved, and truly at home. Yet within this familiar circle, there can sometimes be an invisible limit: the absence of new perspectives, different experiences, and fresh thinking. When we only interact with people of the same generation with the same mindset and life circumstances, we may unintentionally slow down our own mental growth, like a garden with only one type of plant. Beautiful but monotonous. Our minds also need to be nourished with diversity to continue flourishing. The human brain, even in old age, still craves challenge and expansion. Meaningful conversations, healthy debates, and exposure to differing viewpoints are like exercise for the brain. When we only talk to people who always agree with us, when the discussions revolve only around old ideas, the brain is no longer stimulated. And over time, this can lead to mental stagnation, even increasing the risk of cognitive decline. But the great news is, the solution doesn't lie in expensive therapies or modern devices. It's found in simple, sincere connections with different generations. When older adults actively engage with younger generations, whether through volunteer activities, sharing experiences, or simply spending time with grandchildren, something magical happens. The exchange is not only about knowledge or life lessons, but also about mutual inspiration. The younger generation brings energy, curiosity, and vitality, while the older generation offers depth, experience, and kindness. These intergenerational conversations can rekindle joy, spark new thoughts, and sometimes heal wounds that seem to have been forgotten. They are moments where both the heart and the mind are nurtured, when advice is listened to with respect, or when a child's innocent gaze reminds you of your own youthful enthusiasm. There's no denying that intergenerational relationships are one of the strongest protections for mental health. Research has shown that older adults who regularly interact with younger people tend to have better memory, fewer symptoms of depression, and higher life satisfaction. But beyond the numbers and statistics, what is more valuable is the feeling of living fully, the sense that you still have something to share, to learn, to give, and to receive. While some older adults may think their role has been completed, the presence of younger generations in daily life serves as a reminder that there are still many wonderful things you can do, and many people who need you. Furthermore, intergenerational connections are not only beneficial for older adults, they are incredibly valuable for the younger generation as well. In a society where things change rapidly, young people sometimes feel lost, adrift in a sea of endless choices. At those moments, the companionship of someone with experience, with real-life stories and hard-earned lessons, is a priceless gift. This relationship is not one way. It is a two-way flow where each person plays the role of both learner and teacher, listener and giver. Imagine a world where older adults are not pushed to the sidelines, but are at the heart of connecting generations, where their stories spark the imagination of children, where their advice eases the confusion of young people struggling with life. That world is not far off. It begins with a family meal, an afternoon of baking with a grandchild, or a brief conversation with a young neighbor. In these simple moments, you are enriching your own life, not just emotionally but also intellectually and spiritually. Expanding your social circle to embrace people of different ages is not just a kind act, it is an investment in your own future. It is how you keep your mind flexible, your emotions vibrant, and your heart full of love. It's never too late to learn to connect and to feel the deep joy of knowing that you still have so much to share with the world. Let old age not be a time of shrinking back, but a time of blooming in wisdom, compassion, and boundless connection, where you, with all that you have lived, remain a guiding light for future generations. Old age, at its deepest essence, is not an ending, but a new chapter where the depth of the soul and intellect has the opportunity to shine most brilliantly. As we move past the busy years of work and responsibilities, it is a time when we are called to live more fully. Not by speed, but by understanding. Not by external achievements, but by internal connection. And in that world where generations can sit together, listen to each other, and learn from one another, old age no longer becomes silence, but a guiding light, a home for lasting values, and an invisible treasure of memories and wisdom. Don't limit yourself to the familiar safe zone. Step out of the circle of sameness and seek out dialogues that are different, where each person, regardless of age, is a living book, a new horizon. You are not just enriching your own soul, but you are leaving behind a legacy, not with money, but with your presence, with the stories, and with the love you share. Life doesn't demand that we stay forever young, but life always hopes that we grow continuously, deeper, kinder, and more connected. If you are reading these words and feel your heart stirred, that is the inner call. The call to love more, connect more, and live more fully, not just for yourself, but for the generations to come. Every moment you share with younger people, whether it's a small story or a sincere piece of advice, is a seed you plant for the future. And in that moment, you are also healing the fragile parts within yourself, keeping your mind sharp and your heart always fresh. I believe that each of us carries a gift to share. And if you find value in what I've written, please don't keep it to yourself. Let these reflections spread to more hearts. Subscribe to continue this journey of sharing meaningful stories, timeless life lessons, and building a community where older generations are not forgotten but cherished as the precious gems of life. Don't just live, live deeply. Don't just be present, leave a mark. And don't just grow old, grow in love and connection. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you again in the next stories. Click subscribe, because good things deserve to be shared.